There's a question that appears wherever shmups are discussed and chill shmup videos are made. And that's, what do you play shmups on? Do you use an arcade stick or a controller? Often it seems like the person asking thinks that I play on a stick, maybe even a customized one. Now, since this question comes up over and over, I thought I'd take a moment to answer it in detail. Because, well, this channel is all about encouraging people to play shmups, especially people who may be kind of new to the genre. And I feel like sometimes people get the idea that to play these games you absolutely need some kind of heavy-duty arcade stick or an ideal gaming monitor or some other specialized and potentially expensive gear. So in the interests of dispelling some myths, here's what I play shmups on. Note that I'm not saying you should play the same way that I do. This is just how I do it. I have two main platforms for my shmupping needs. I have a PS4 for M2 Shot Triggers releases that are only available on console. Everything else I pretty much play on PC. All of my PS4 clears like Diojo, Ketsui, Battle Garega and so on are done on a stock PS4 DualShock controller that I got second hand. As for my PC clears, a lot of them are done with an 8-bit DOE SN30, which is a copy of a Super Nintendo gamepad. The one I have is the 2.4G version for lagless wireless connection. Lately I've been playing on a Xbox One controller, wired because my Bluetooth adapter seems to suck. Honestly, this feels a little bit too bulky for playing shmups. I prefer a kind of a lighter feel because you're making so many quick taps all the time. But I've done a couple of clears with this one, so it's not really a huge deal. A lot of shmup players seem to like the 8-bit DOE M30 with its disc-like D-pad. It hasn't really clicked with me, but I think I need to give it some more playtime. What's common to all of these controllers is I didn't get them specifically to play shmups. They're just what I already had around for other stuff. I mean, they're not bad controllers in the slightest. They are responsive and they all have nice D-pads, which is the most important thing to me. I still have my old Xbox 360 controller that I've used for like dozens and dozens of other games, but I would never play shmups on it because the D-pad is that horrifying blob thing. So yes, I do have standards, but once those are fulfilled, I'm really not that picky. Okay, so I play with this miscellaneous assortment of gamepads, and I seem to be happy doing it. But have I tried playing with an arcade stick? Maybe my play would get better if I did. The thing is, when I got seriously into shmup some 2+ years ago, I did what any reasonable civilized person would do in my position. I got online to read up on this stuff. And the community seemed to be in an almost total agreement that the best way to play these games is with a stick. So I got one. I bought the 8-bit DOE one because it was affordable, it was available in my area, and it had mostly favorable reviews. For a while, this is what I did all of my shmupping on. This got me through my first clears like Dodonpachi, Mushihime-sama Original, Diojo Black Label, and so on. And I didn't think much of it. I just adjusted to playing with a stick and that's what I used. It felt authentic to shmup with a stick. I was in the in crowd. But then, dun dun dun. Because I enjoyed playing Diojo so much, I went back and started playing the game again, but this time on the PS2 version, because it meant that I could play the game on a CRT. Yes, CRTs rule. And no, you do not need one to play shmups effectively. Anyway, I played the game on the basic PS2 DualShock because it was the only controller that I had for the system. So I switched from stick to gamepad, and again, I didn't think much of it. It didn't seem to affect my play either way. Or so I thought, because when I got tired of Diojo on the PS2 and got back to playing other games on stick, it felt like I was suddenly doing much worse than before. I remember trying to get into Battle Garega at the time. It was before I had it on the PS4 and I was just trying it out on the Mr. FPGA using the 8-bit DOS stick. And it just felt like I wasn't in control. Like I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to do it. Then I tried playing it on a controller, and wouldn't you know it, suddenly I was able to hit those dodges. I think what happened was, playing a bunch of Daijo with a controller on the PS2, I was able to develop some of the essential shmup skills a little bit further, especially tap dodging. And I realized that I was just much more comfortable doing that stuff on a D-pad instead of an arcade stick. Which is actually a little sad because there's so much more feeling to playing with a stick. It just feels more true to the genre, you know. It's just fun. But in the long run, it's more fun to be able to consistently control your ship. It's a change that took me a little bit of time to mentally adjust to because I was so set on playing these games with a stick. In my state of confusion, I even tried playing on a keyboard for a while to see if maybe that was the best way to go. And I did clear one game this way, and that's the original Donpachi, Cave's first game. And true to my style, I did it on this 15-year-old Logitech keyboard, which I think cost like 20 euros at the time. It was the cheapest one I could find as a student with no money while still having a recognizable brand. Well, now I'm a student of shmups, and this keyboard is a workhorse. But it's just not for me. Ultimately, I think this might be the most precise input method, but personally I just don't find it comfortable. Also, there's like zero vibe in it. Apologies to all Toho players. So, gamepads rule and arcade sticks suck. Is that what I'm trying to say? Not at all. In fact, this particular stick that I have might just suck for shmup use. Or that's what I've heard online because everybody seems to mod it with other parts. So it very well might be that I just need to get a better stick to really get it. But I've also had the great pleasure and privilege to play some Cave games on original hardware, housed in authentic Sega arcade cabs. I've played some Ketsui, Mushi Futari Black Label and Esp Galuda this way, and I actually managed to clear Galuda on this setup, which is a happy memory to me. The sticks on these devices seem to be in full working order, and they felt nice to play on. But there was no great revelation in it, no whoa moments. I didn't seem to be doing any better or worse than usual. So to wrap it up, what do I recommend in terms of input methods for shmups? Well, I won't say that you shouldn't get an arcade stick, because that's what most of the players clearly seem to prefer. But I will say that you don't need one to get started in shmups or to get legit clears. There are excellent players who play on a stick, who play on a controller, who play on keyboard. The main thing is to play. If you're interested in trying out these games, and the only thing you have is like a PS4 DualShock or something, that's completely fine. Just don't use the analog stick, okay? Then if you find yourself getting more and more into shmups, consider experimenting with methods of inputs. Try out a controller with a different sort of D-pad. Try playing with an arcade stick. Try mashing that keyboard. As long as you're not playing on something obviously bad or faulty, it's really not that complicated. I know this is a topic that some people feel really strongly about, so feel free to post your own preferences and recommendations in the comments. Thanks for watching, Hazy out.